Hello, and welcome along to the stream tonight. I hope that everyone is doing well. The aim of tonight's stream is to work on the Visual Studio Code extension for Cake. So in the last couple of weeks, hey Nels, how's it going? In the last couple of weeks, there's been some updates. We've been doing some releases to Cake. So for those that don't know, Cake is a build orchestration tool for .NET. We've recently released a pre-release version of version 2, and along with that, we've also been updating Cake.Bakery. So you can see a theme going on here. We've got cake, we've got bakery. So what Cake.Bakery is it is a module for Omnisharp, which provides the ability to get Intellisense within VS Code when we're writing a cake script. Now, there's been some suggestions with the new version of Cake.Bakery that we've just released that we need to make a tighter integration with VS Code so that you don't have to do anything in order for it to work. So what I mean by that is, if I just I've got the VS Code open in VS Code, and I've got I'm now running the extension development host. I just hit F5 to run the extension in a new instance of Visual Studio Code. So over here, if I go ahead and create a new build.cake file, so you'll know if you've got the extension installed because it's got icons, all right? So in here, if I were to type something like, if I were to try and get a task, then nothing's happening here. And I also, if I try and type information, I don't get, oh, I do get Intellisense. Why is Intellisense working right now? Why is Intellisense working? Do I have Cake.Bakery installed? Oh, no, that's because I have this thing. So let's... So it's working just now when it shouldn't be. So what I was trying to show there was that we don't get Intellisense out of the box. Now, we don't get Intellisense out of the box because we don't have this information in this omnisharp.json file. Now, the interaction between Cake.Bakery, and Omnisharp, there's some rules around it. So Omnisharp will attempt to find Cake.Bakery in certain known locations. And when it can't find it, it basically doesn't do anything. But if you create this omnisharp.json file in the root of your user folder and tell it where to find bakery, then that will work. So if we do this again, and I want to keep this around so I don't forget what it is, but let's cut this out of here, right? I'm going to save that. If I go back over here and restart the Omnisharp server, so there's a restart command in Visual Studio Code to kick Omnisharp server and start it up again. You'll see that down here where it's gone yellow. This little flame has gone yellow, and now it's gone white, indicating that it's running. If I go over here, then now how is that? I'm so confused as to why that's actually... I don't think I've got Cake.Bakery installed globally. Let me just check. Oh no, I do. So I wonder if it's finding it there, because now it's on the path. Okay, so let's do Choco. I'm really trying to show that it doesn't work out of the box, but so far it has worked out of the box. Cake-bakery.portable. Right, let's uninstall that. Clearly it's not called that. What was it called? Cake-bakery.portable. Yeah, it was called that. Failures. Cannot uninstall. Oh, I spelled bakery wrong. Let's try that again. Right. So we're going to uninstall the package that's installed globally through Chocolatey. And access to the path. Oh, that's because, I bet, yeah, that's because Omnisharp's got a hold of it. So let's take this out and let's try that again. Hey Kim, how's it going? Let's try that again. I'm going to uninstall Bakery one more time. And then I'm going to prove that it definitely doesn't work out the box, right? So let's go back to code. And I'm going to run the extension from the instance of VS Code that I have here. And this time, when I go into my Cake script, the Intellisense shouldn't work anymore, he says. So now if we come in here and now we try and type information, then I'm not going to get any Intellisense, right? So now I'm at a point where it's now functioning the way I expect it to function, right? So the way that you would normally get this to work is you would walk up to the Cake extension and you would say install Intellisense support. Now what it would do is it adds a tools folder and it extracts the Cake.Bakery nutmeg into this folder. And then in here, this is where you'll find the Cake.Bakery.exe. And that's the thing that Omnisharp needs to spin up in order for all the things to work. So now with that in play, now I should be able to get the Intellisense I was getting before, right? So what we want to happen is we want that Intellisense support to work as soon as the Cake extension is installed, right? And the way that we're going to get that to work is we're most likely going to remove this command, or we're going to modify this command to make it a update Intellisense support rather than install. And what we're going to do is when the extension is first activated, we are going to install Cake.Bakery into the Cake extension path. And then we're going to update this omnisharp.json to have the stuff that was in there before I deleted it, right? So what I need to verify is how all of these things are going to hang up. So I know conceptually what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to do the action that was done here. I want to download and extract the Cake.Bakery nutmeg to a folder. And then I want to update this file, if it exists, to include the bakery path element that was in there before. And if this file doesn't exist, I want to create it and I want to stick the bakery path into there. And then everything should work. So there's a few things in there that we need to figure out. One of the main ones is I don't really know TypeScript. So we're going to be floundering a little bit trying to get that working, but that's okay. So the first thing I want to verify is that I can get access to that omnisharp.json file. And if I can get access to it, I want to be able to read the contents of it. And if the bakery path is set, happy days, we'll leave it as it is. If it's not set, we'll add it. And if file doesn't exist, we'll create it. Okay. So I'm going to do all of this in the cake main.ts file to start with. It may get split up into different files as we go through this, but I essentially want to try it out, make sure I can get it to function. And if I can get it to function, then I can refactor it, right? So right in here, I'm going to say, I'm going to create a new function and we're going to say register Cake.Bakery. So if anyone's got any suggestions or ideas about how to do these things, definitely feel free to shout. But for now, I'm just going to plod on and see what we can get working. So let's create a new function called register Cake.Bakery. Okay, so the first thing I want to check for is I want to check for that file existing in the known location that it needs to be. Now that known location is the user's home directory, right? So we've got access to the home directory via the OS include, because I verified that earlier today. So we have access to that object. So I can say, oh, we have had a follow from Mkissin. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. So we have access to the home directory. And then what I want to do is I want to, now this is where I'm going to flounder all over the place. So I'm going to need to combine or join a file path. Is it join? Path.join. So in here, there looks like there's some sort of path.join. Okay, and then if exists, get folder path. So we could do something along the lines of this. So let's have a look at this. And we can say, if file system exists synchronously, get tool folder path. Let's just have a look and see what it's doing. And if that's somewhere we need to do some work. Why was that referenced via TS? Let me figure out what was going on there. So that was VM. So the VM was passed, or VM is this. Okay. Get tool folder path. So let's create something similar to this. Function. Let's say function get Omnisharp user folder path. Right. So in here, we're going to do something like if it's there, return null, but then we can do something. Yeah, because if it's not there, we want to create it. If it is there, we just want to get it. So if exists, so that's essentially the same thing. Yeah, so that's pretty much exactly what we want. So we want to say get Omnisharp here, then make directory async to there. Now, can I reference that in a minute just via that? That's going to complain because void is not assignable as a parameter like path. Now that's because I'm going to need to return something. So I'm going to need to return that as a string. Kim says he wants me to use this dot. Although the outer value of this is shadowed by this container. So I don't think it does. I think it's just the fact that it's not returning something. And then this is complaining because it must return a value. So that's fine. So then what we want to say is if path.join. Now what's it doing? It's saying if workspace.rootPath return root path and then tools. Otherwise return that. So I don't think we need to do that. I think we just need to say return path.join os.homedir. Try that again. Homedir. And then it's a case of doing this, and then this is going to be, now let me get the path right, .omnisharp. .omnisharp, right? I'm going to return that. Did you mean to call this? Maybe. Okay. So if exists, if it doesn't exist, Omnisharp user folder path, make the directory Omnisharp folder path. Happy days. Okay. And then fs. Now I guess we could, this is going to get Omnisharp cake config file. This is a little bit overloaded, but bear with me here. This is how my head's thinking about it. So let's just go with it. And we're going to go say return path.join get Omnisharp folder path with the name of the file, which is omnisharp.json. The reason I'm keeping them separate is because we might need to act on them at different times. So we'll keep them separate at the minute, right? And then that needs to be a call to there. Beautiful. So then we can say if not, so now we can say if fs.exists get Omnisharp config file, then we need to read it in, read in file, else we need to create file. Okay. Why are you yelling at me? An expression of type void cannot be tested for truthiness. Gotta love it. Oh, hold on. Exists sync. Okay. So if the file exists, we need to read in the file. If it doesn't, we need to create it. And this is the part I wanted to test. Because if we go back to here and we put that information back in that I deleted. So I'm going to go to cakebuild.net and I'm going to look for the example of where we set this up. So this is bakery. This one. I'm going to go and copy and paste something from here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this into here. Right. Custom path. So let's just say that this is going to be C. It's not where it lives just now, but let's imagine that that's the case. So what I want to be able to do is I want to read in that thing. Now, I did a little bit of Googling on this before, and I think I can do Omnisharp cake config. Now, is it as or is? Hold on. I read this. TypeScript read file. It's this one. Let me get the syntax right. This is where I flail because I don't really know TypeScript, but we'll give it a try. So then in here, it's from is what I'm looking for. So I can say from, I think, get Omnisharp config file, right? Maybe. There's a lot of Omnisharp declared, but its values never. Okay, that's fine, maybe. And then let's do a test. Console.log Omnisharp cake config dot cake dot whatever it was, Cake.Bakery path. Let's see what that gives us. And I'm going to run that. Oh, it doesn't look good. import. An import declaration. See, I was worried about that. See, the example suggested that I could do that, but that needs to be done up here. But that would mean that I can't validate that it exists. So how would I read the JSON directly like that? There must be another way of doing it. If anyone in the chat knows how to read a JSON file in TypeScript, then there's the old JSON.parse. So let's try that. So let's not do it with the import then. Let's do it with var config JSON.parse of my get JSON config file. Copy that and put this into here. What does that give us? Didn't complain this time. Oh, I don't remember, but I think you need to use var JSON. So let's, if that's a breakpoint, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to hit F5. And then we need to do something to activate it. Or did it already go past it? I think it already went past it. So let's put a breakpoint in here then. Let's stop that and start it again. So it's, here we go. So if the folder doesn't exist, make it. If the file does exist, let's read it. So omnisharp.cake.config cakes bakery path. Is that okay? So that gets us the thing that we need. Okay. So in that scenario, we have what we need. So there's nothing to do actually. We only care when there isn't a value there and we need to set it. So is there a JSON.stringify, and then I could write that to a file, I think. So we could do that once we've read it. So we could say what we're going to do here. Let's not worry about that just yet. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's stop this. And then let's minimize this a second, get a bit more space. So, because we're going to know where we install it to. We're going to install it to, I think, there's another thing here where we can say context dot, no, we can't do it there, so we need to pass that in. We're going to pass this in here as context, and then that is going to take in this thing, copy, and then if we go back to where we were doing stuff with my new function is going to take this thing, and then from there we're going to know where we're going to do stuff because it's going to be context.extension path. So this path is where we're going to download Cake.Bakery to, and we're going to steal that code from over here because there already is a download and extract method, and it's going to put it into here. Now that's where we don't want it to go. So can I override this to reuse it, or am I going to have to Am I going to have to abuse it? Because at the minute, what this Cake.Bakery does is it downloads it into a new tools folder within the current workspace. Now, we don't want that. So the question becomes, do I reuse all of this by telling it I want to use the extension path, or do I reuse it elsewhere? The read cake.config file, what's it doing? I don't think we need that anymore. So that's from shared utils read cake config file. So it's got NuGet path settings. Oh, so it's looking for an overridden tools folder, which, yeah, we don't need to worry about that. I'm going to hack this thing. I'm going to take some things out here that I don't think we need. This .config. So we're not going to need that, I don't think. We'll leave the constructor in for now. This is looking at that, which is not that anymore. Get target path is, well, we don't need that anymore, because what we're going to do is we're going to put, we're not going to have that. We're going to need to find that. We're going to take that out. We're going to do the same thing here, I think. Route path. Oh, that's the destination path. How are those two things not the same? I'm just wondering what's going on here. So, let me have another think about what's going on here. So in the constructor, I want to put the extension path as a string. No, that's not what I want to do. Right. Whoa. What happened there? This dot extension path as a string. That's not what it looked like, was it? What have I done? I'll get there in the end. Oh, I haven't saved that file. That's why it's not showing up. Go away. Constructor private. It's private config as a config. So we want a private extension path as a string. That's better. So then in here we could say this dot extension path is equal to extension path, so that we have it, right? So then this is going to be, I'm just going to keep going with this replacement. See where we get to. I don't fully understand how this works. but we'll keep going with it. Let's do extension path. And then that. Okay. Get folder path is, let's at least try and keep this consistent so it looks the same. And then folder, get, the naming's a bit off now, but let's keep going. And then this is just going to be this dot extension path. That seems a little bit unnecessary, but let's keep going. And then it's going to do some stuff. Okay. So then we don't need this anymore. Fine. So then when it comes to Cake.Bakery, I should be able to do what I should be able to do is Cake.Bakery dot. Now we were doing something with install Cake.Bakery command. Where do you come from? That's from the command, but were we not doing something with commands? Yeah, we want to do this, I think. Because that's the one I've been playing with. I think. Yep. So we want to import that over here. So this folder's not going to know about that one. So in my source folder, I'm going to need bakery, Cake.Bakery. Why are you complaining? Duplicate identifier. Oh, it's already there. That's why. So we already have that. So why am I not able to call that? What am I doing wrong? Or where were we already using that? Bakery. We're not doing anything with it in there. It's not actually being used. Okay. But in here, if we do the same thing, then see, that's failing now because we need to give it a path. And then we can call bakery dot download and extract. Right. So that's what we need to do. So let's do this over to here, into here, and we're going to do that, which is now going to be the extension path that we do have now. So that's the extension path there. And then we should be able to do bakery dot download and extract. Yep. Now when we were doing that before, we were returning a function which is install Cake.Bakery, so that's fine. So in here, we'll just make this an empty string at the minute because we're not doing anything with that command at the minute. We're not going to use it. So in here, we're going to say download and extract, which should put it into the temp folder. And then once we have that, we should be able to look at this one's get target path. Copy. Console.log bakery dot get target path. I'm going to set a breakpoint on there, and I'm going to hit F5. Okay. So this is target path is source bakery. No. How do I see the value? Caller arguments. Or where do I see the console.log that just got omitted? Okay, let's keep going. The download and extract just happened, I think. See organizations GitHub VS Code. So if we walk up to here and we go see GitHub organizations cake build cake VS Code, I'm not convinced that that actually did what I wanted it to do. Can I just await there? Await expressions are only allowed within async functions. Right? It's obviously not as simple as just that. So where were we doing that? Copy. Return await. Oh, export async function. So it's the other way around. Look at that. Fine. Wouldn't have got there without checking. So if we do that again, seemed to do more stuff that time. So what's, oh look, it's created a Cake.Bakery folder, and in there it hasn't put stuff where I wanted it. But it is there. There's the Cake.Bakery.exe. So that means though that the target path is not going to be where I think it is. So let's do this. Var target path is equal to let's try that again. Okay, so F10 over that. So at the minute, target path is, yeah, that's nowhere near where it wants to be. So the target path is someone using this in this file? No. So the extension path is going to be that Cake.Bakery Cake.Bakery slash, oh, where do I get a slash on this keyboard? Let's see if it works with that. So Cake.Bakery tools bakery.exe. Fine. So that means that we have this now. And then in there, what we want to be able to do is say Omnisharp cake configs dot cake dot bakery path equals the target path. Then what we need to do is fs.write file sync, I think. And then in there, we're going to do Omnisharp. No, we're going to do json.stringify the Omnisharp Cake config object. Why is that not like that? So this is complaining because, well, let's stop debugging to start with. An argument for data was not provided. So the write file sync takes a path. Oh, it needs a path. So that's where we need this guy again. So we'll paste that and then we'll put that into there. Let's see what that does. Okay, so currently in this file, it's got C, that's really small. Oh, there we go. So currently the Cake.Bakery path is to some made up path. But if this all works, which it probably won't, let's imagine that it gets updated. Okay. So we do some stuff, we download some stuff, we set the bakery path to be the new location, which is that, and then we write that to the file system and we carry on. So if we go back over to that file, it has been reloaded. It doesn't look pretty anymore, but I'm okay with that. But it does have the right location to the bakery.exe. That's important. So if we come back over here and we stop debugging a second and we go back into my bakery command, then I want to do this. So this is us cheating a little bit, but cheating's okay. So we got commands. No, we don't, but we can get it. So what we're going to do then is let's force a restart of the Omnisharp server to use new config. So we're going to do vscode.commands. So VS Code is actually pretty clever in the sense that if another extension has registered a command, so we registered a bunch of commands in this extension. So we scroll up a little bit, then up here we register commands like cake.intellisense, cake.install, blah, 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 blah. If another extension has registered a command, if you know the name of that command, you can call it. So the one that I'm calling here with o.restart is this one. So this Omnisharp restart Omnisharp command in my command palette is called with this. So I can reach into it and just say, can you restart me, please? So if all of that works, then in my new extension, obviously this needs lots of tidying up, but from a functional point of view, once that's finished being activated, then back over here in my extension host, that became underlined. Wasn't underlined before. That's because Intellisense is now working. So if I do this, I now get Intellisense for that information command. So what we've done there is we've gone from just installing the extension to getting Cake.Bakery downloaded and Omnisharp restarted to get immediate Intellisense for my cake scripts in VS Code. So let's put it all back together. So let's go back into this extensions folder, and I'm going to delete that Cake.Bakery folder to pretend it's not there. At the minute, why is it not deleting that file? I asked it nicely to delete it. There we go. Who are you? No, we don't need an update. It's you just now. Now, currently, we are checking if that folder exists. If it doesn't exist, we're going to make it. So we should be able to go a little bit further here, and we should be able to say, let's actually have another file explorer open. So we're going to go to C users get13 and then .omnisharp. Okay, I'm going to delete it, right? I might have regretted that, but let's give it a try. So if we come over here and we say, so we're back to the start. This is a fresh install of the extension. Don't currently have the Cake.Bakery file downloaded. We don't have the Omnisharp configuration file. Let's see if we can go from nothing to it running and see what happens. It's taking a while to build this time. I don't know why. I hope I didn't delete something I needed, and that's why it's taking longer to run. What have I all deleted? No, none of that files was ones that are being tracked. Let's stop that. And can I stop that? Let's kill that. Let's try that again. I'm not sure why that's taking a while to run my extension now. It wasn't doing that before. What's Task Manager doing? It's doing lots of stuff. You know what? I'm gonna close this and reopen it because it seems to have got hung up on something. Let's try that again. It's currently saying initializing Java. There we go. Okay, so we're back to, let's F5 this again. See where we get to. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this time we currently don't have any red squigglies. We are going to step through this and we're going to let it download. So now at this point, we have now got that Cake.Bakery folder again with our extracted nupkeg, which includes the Cake.Bakery.exe. We don't currently have... Oh, who created that? Oh, the Omnisharp extension must create that already, because I haven't created that. Or we haven't created that yet. So the folder already exists, so we don't need to do anything about it. Oh, we haven't done the else. Okay, so let's do that then. We need to do that. So if the file doesn't exist, we need to create it. So what we're going to do is, well, what are we going to do? We need to create a JSON object to then write it. So what we're going to need is essentially this. We're going to want to do that, and then we're going to need to create an object, give it the same name. Let's make this a little bit bigger again so we can see everything. So we're going to create this thing called that, and that's going to be equal to JavaScript something or JSON something. Then we're going to say .cake.bakery path is equal to target path. And then we're going to try and write it out. But that doesn't like it because subsequent variable Omnisharp must be of type any. So if I already declared it here, is that why it's complaining? Let's try. How do they know about each other? Because they're in different scopes. But let's do new Omnisharp cake config. Copy that, paste that there. I'm going to paste that there. I don't want to have to strongly type it. So how do I use the literal notation? Run that one past me, Nils. What do you mean by that? Oh. Will that work? I'll give it a try. Cake. Bakery path. Oh, look at that. Gotta love TypeScript sometimes. Okay. Fine. Let's try this again. Thanks for that, Nils. So this time through, we'll have to do some sense checking here regarding the whether this needs to happen at all. Because if it's already there, we don't need to download it. We'll figure that part out. We'll just let it download it again. So then if the file doesn't exist, we need to do stuff. If the file exists, we need to do stuff. If the file doesn't exist, we need to create it. So we're going to do that. So now in my Omnisharp, now we've got that file back. If we open it back up in here, it should still have that stuff in it. And then if we go back to VS Code and we let this run through, then again, over here, once Omnisharp starts up again, then we start getting Intellisense. What do you think about that, Nils? And Kim, if you're still around. That is what we want, I think. Do you agree? I think that is everything that we said we wanted. Obviously, it needs to be tidied up, but from a pure functional point of view, that would mean that anyone that installs the Cake extension for VS Code, on activation of that extension, i.e. once they run it, it will attempt the download of the Cake.Bakery nupkeg. It'll put it into the extensions folder, and then it will update the Omnisharp configuration file to point at that location, and then it'll restart Omnisharp, and then it'll light up with Intellisense ready to go. That sort of went a little bit better than I expected. but I think it works. And I don't think there's anything in there that would break on different operating systems, because everything is kind of agnostic, because the extension path will be at the root of the folder structure, and so it's just dollars dot Omnisharp on a Mac rather than C users whatever. It will mean that multiple users on the machine have multiple files, but that's okay, because that would mean that a different user can have a different path to it. Putting it into the extensions folder, I think, makes sense as well, because do we have an upgrade path for Bakery just now? Well, at the minute, so at the minute, let me just get let me do this and take that breakpoint off. Let's go back to the extension. So at the minute, Nils, if you were to run this again, it would download the latest one again. So right now, you'll see that I've got a tools folder. If I were to, now I've maybe broken that, but if we were to force something, so let's say, for example, we deleted that Cake.Bakery.exe. If we run that Intellisense support again, then it should let me override. Oh, look at that. No, we don't then. So let me delete this. Install Intellisense support. Oh, I've broken that path now. I've broken that path because it's got a string to empty. But I'm fairly sure I've broken it, because have I just put something on the root of my C drive? I think I probably have. No. Where's it doing that to then? So what I was going to say was that the current command would just download it again and put it into the tools folder. Now, because I broke that, this is the one I'm looking at, Cake.Bakery command, yes. If I set a breakpoint there and go back to our here, if we do this again, so result is true. Why is it doing that when what it's actually telling me is Intellisense support for cake files was already installed? Intellisense support for cake files was already installed. Let's do that just to make sure that I'm talking about the same thing. So if we do that, then where is it trying to put it? Yeah, it's broken, because we're just returning a Cake.Bakery tools. Oh, it's putting it in there? How is it getting to put it in there? Oh, because it's probably where it's, yeah, that's bad. So let's let's do that again. If we delete that, yeah, probably won't let me do that. But anyway, what I was going to say was, Nils, that this command over here, rather than say install Intellisense support, I think this should be update Intellisense support. And that would, the action in there would be to, if required, download the latest version of the Cake.Bakery.nupkeg and put it into that extension path folder. Now, we can know what that value, the currently installed version is, because the currently installed version is available here, right? So we know what version that we've got installed, and we should be able to figure out what available version it would install, because if we go back over here and we look at the what it's doing over here, then this cancel. Maybe it's just getting the latest. Yeah. Well, that's going to annoy me. That kind of needs to be spelled properly. What does it do with that currently? On and extract to there. So there's a little bit more work to do there. Well, we either need to, on the update command, we say just to remove that one and put it back in again. Or do we want it to check? Are we okay with it just saying, I'm going to delete the folder and I'm going to put the new one back in again? I think I'm okay with that. So the command is no longer going to be, so the command was the Cake.Bakery command, which was this one. Like I say, I broke that because we did some stuff to it. Now, where did we do that? Getting myself all lost now. So we said this. So where else did we say that? We said that in here. And we fake that out by putting it in there. But now we want to do something with that. So where are you called from? You're called from there. And we want to pass that in. We don't have that, but we will. Extension path string. Extension path. That's complaining because it doesn't want one, but it's gonna want one. Extension path string. That wants to be extension path. Right, and then I'm going to assume that someone is calling this, and we now need to update that. So then here we can do Now, what was it? Was it vs.extension path or context? So we have that. So in here, I went the wrong way. So we can say context.extension path. And this is now not going to be called that. Now there's somewhere where we register the name. Now where's that done again? I think that's in the package.json file. On command cake.intellisense. Cake.intellisense is going to be update Intellisense support. We'll change the name of it. And then what we want to do is I think we're going to need to change that name as well for consistency. So this is going to be update Cake.Bakery command. This is going to be update Cake.Bakery command. And this is going to be update Cake.Bakery command. Fine. So in here, we're probably going to want to delete some stuff. So what do we want to do? Install Cake.Bakery. So it's really going to be in here. So rather than checking for it, we want to just nuke it. So I want to check to see what value that's getting. So it's restarting this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's still working. That's good. So if we do update Intellisense support, we should come off of that breakpoint and we go to the next one, which is this one. So target path is going to be to that full.exe. So we don't want that. We want to know if this Cake.Bakery folder exists. And if it is, we're going to nuke it. Now, are we going to be able to nuke it? Because Omnisharp might be holding that thing open. I wonder. And I don't think there's a stop Omnisharp. No. Let's try it. So the target path is not going to be the target path. What we want instead is the get tool folder path. I think that's a poorly named method now, but I think that's the one we want. Put it to the test. So we're going to say update Intellisense support, F10 over that. So target path is, oh no, that's not the one we want. So let's go in here. It's that one we want. So back to here again. So if that exists, we need to nuke it. So we're going to say fs.delete remove make dir write file close. How do I delete a file or delete a folder? Can make a directory, read files, rename, move, or remove directory sync. I think it's that one. And we can say then we can say don't need to return that anymore. Oh, where did that go? Probably need recursive on the options. rmdir options. I'm looking it up just now. I would want to find out what those are. I'm Googling on my other screen. rmdir options. Max retries. There is a recursive. Okay. So that would be recursive true. Okay. Just feels like a bit of a risk. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'll wait until we get red squigglies there, because that will tell us that the Cake.Bakery exe is being used. And if that works, I can see 2 restarts of the service in the near future, but I don't necessarily want to do it. Okay, so it's working. So then let's do an update Intellisense. Oh, okay, hold on. So over here, Cake.Bakery. I'm not convinced that that did what it said it was going to do. C, GitHub, organizations, Cake build, VS Code, Cake.Bakery. That folder still exists. So I don't think that did what it was meant to. but okay. Let's... Okay. I'm not... I don't know if that worked or not, Nils, but it might have. Okay. Let's do it one more time without the breakpoint. Up to Intellisense support. So it went away because Omnisharp's restarting. And then once it comes back to life, it's now there. Interesting. It should have been removed on delete then. What does that mean? Sorry. I don't understand what that means, Nils. Add some text file in the folder. Oh, I see what you're saying. So in here, new text document, get 13. So if that's there, then it hasn't done what it says it was going to do. Let's try it one more time then. Update Intellisense support. Well, look at that. It was super quick. So maybe it is doing it. Okay. And then in here, oh, what are you complaining about? No overload for method information. Information's not there. That was a glitch in the matrix. From a pure, and I mean very pure, functional point of view, Nils, this is what we want, right? I think it is. I'm going to wait until I get a response. Ooh, Nils said yes. Okay. What else do we need to make it do? Or is that it? Is it just a case of tidying up what we've got here and submitting a PR then? Or is there other stuff it needs to do? I'll wait for a response to that one too. Nils is thinking. Good stuff. I'll wait. Bob. Look at that. So the other thing that I wanted to check was that var list of stuff is equal to new list of string list of stuff dot add. I'll get there. Speak amongst yourselves. Bob. List of stuff. Bill. If list of stuff dot any. Okay. Oh, you were talking about the Cake.Core DLL stuff. I had that same thought when I was looking at those consts that were defined. So let me just, let's get rid of this folder a second, because otherwise, yeah. I had the same thought when I was looking at the const file here, which, well, I'm going to need to fix that to start with. Copy. Can I just change it? I don't know whether the kind of refactor works, but I'm just going to change it. Service. Right, I feel better now. I don't know why that's causing an exit 0. This one. I don't think we need this one anymore, because we don't want or need the Cake.CoreClr. So let's see if anybody uses this one. Cake.Debug. Oh, interesting. So currently, the installing of the debug support is still dependent on Cake.CoreClr, but I don't think we fixed that yet, have we? So if we were to say install debug dependencies, oh, that's what we did. So do we want to say, with the release of 2.0, we're saying that the Cake runner for .NET Core is deprecated, correct? So we should remove this guy, leaving only the Cake.NET global tool. I think that's what we want. So where do we do that? Let's start taking some of that out as well then, because we don't want it. We'll start deleting some code. Well, it's doing that thing again. It was when I tried to delete that folder that it started getting upset. I'm going to close this again. And I'm going to manually delete that folder. And I'm going to open it up one more time. So hopefully by the end of tonight, we'll get to a point where I kind of got all the changes that we want to make locally. And then I'll push them up as a draft PR and I'll tidy it up. I'll refine it over the course of the next couple of nights, hopefully. Because that would simplify that command. So the text is Cake runner for .NET Core. Cake runner for .NET Core. So let's have a wee look in here. Cake runner for .NET Core. Oh, what's that typo all about? That's almost certainly me that did that. I'm going to go and fix that now too. Hold on. I'll come back, I promise. Framework. 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 Okay, I feel better now. So, Cake Runner for .NET Framework is still supported, but the Cake Runner for .NET Core is not. Okay. I really don't know why that's coming up with exit 1. Find all references. Yeah, I did a refresh of there's lots of upstream changes, but yeah, master and develop was from 12 months ago. Is that the last one? I'm fairly sure that that's the latest one. GitHub.com/. VS Code. The last, because that was the 1.0 release that we did. Is it really that long? You know, yeah. 1st of December 2020. Update to latest VS Code. Yeah, it is. So in here, we said debugger type enums.debug. In here, we said, that's going to bug me too. Error installing cake dependencies. Oh, so if it's here, that one's broken. So we can take that one out because that's not going to be there anymore. Fine. In here, if it's stuff, it's going to get complicated. Let's have a look to see what's actually going on in here. I don't think we need that quick pick because we don't need it. Callback options. Well, that's just the single debug thing at the minute. So net tool, I think, is what we want. I think that is what we want there. Okay. So back over here into my find. Oh, I've lost my find. What was I doing? I was looking for the debug type. I was looking for where all this was used. Find all references. Yes. So in here, we fixed that, and then in here, we said, well, we don't need that either. Is cake tool just take that out. Advice is going to be that can come out. Right, we're going to need that take this out. And we can take this out. And then we can take this out. Okay. Enums is no longer used. What are you doing there? Oh, that's because we don't. That's because. Oh, where did that go? It's further down. No. Where did I just lose that from? Oh, it's here. This one. We can take that out. Oh, maybe you wanted to fix them. Yes, I've had situations like that too. So then that's interesting. It's lost my what I was doing again. Find all references. Strangeness. Oh, here. Let's see what it is. Show quick pick needs to come out. This one needs to come out because it's no longer there. Leaving just the 2. Okay. So if we do that, let's see what that does. Abort. Abort. Problems. Property.NET Core doesn't exist. So I think we can just take that out. And I think we can take that one out. Code. Promise interface. I don't know why that's causing an error there. We can take that one out. Okay. Cannot find the name install Cake tool. What did I break there? What did I break in there? Install Cake.ts. Maybe have a look in here. 57 files. A lot of those are fine. Install Cake tool. Oh, I see what I did. I need this back. Deleted too much. So back up to here and under Cake.configuration, and you put this back. And then just take this one out. There. I don't know where interfaces went. Cake debug command. Oh, I was too aggressive there too. Look at that. Let's put that back. And let's do that. Where's this one used? I don't think we want this one anymore. So why is it still claiming to be being used? Who is calling you? Nobody's calling you. Install Cake debug. Yeah, I don't think we want that. We want some of them, but we don't want this one, I don't think. Download and extract. I don't think we want this one at all. So I'm going to say this one. We delete that. Felt like quite an aggressive move there, but I think it was needed. And then up here, this one is not needed. And then this one is not needed. And then wherever this thing is being used, this can come out. Right. Let's try running that. Got 22 minutes left before I need to go inside. So now if I say install debug dependencies, it shouldn't prompt me where it prompted me before. Now it just says Cake.tool is already installed globally, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so that tidied up that. Anything else we need to tidy up, Nils? That felt like a good change. Let's just check to see that there's no other mention of CoreClr. Oh, there's some changes in there. Now, did we not change some of that? Configuration snippets. I feel like I want to take these out too, but I need to make sure that there's a any reference to this cake.dll. I'm gonna take this out too. Although that doesn't leave anything in its place. I don't recall what that means. But also it's a lot to delete. Where did that go? That was here. This here. Executable of the debug session, e.g. for debug type mono or for debug type. Oh, I'm going to have broken some tests there. Not sure about those changes, Nils. But there's a few other CoreClr. Update debug install dependency either install. So that's now to install the .NET Global tool for Cake. Okay, that feels like a good change. Install Bootstrapper, install. This is going to be update Intellisense support to download the Cake.Bakery NuGet package into the extension folder. Which in conjunction with Omnisharp provides Intellisense support for Cake files. So that feels like a good change there too. Framework type of the debug session. I don't actually remember how the debugging works, Nils. I don't remember how it works with the let's run it. It does. We had it working, didn't we? I just forget what the. So if I hit, well, this won't work because I haven't got a run target. But if we do a run target default and then set a breakpoint here, if we hit F5, sure. So it just added a bunch of stuff, but that's not what we want. But if we come down here and say add configuration cake there, so it's of type CoreClr. No, hold on. It's of type CoreClr, but we're launching .NET Cake, and then we're doing stuff for build.cake verbosity diagnostic. So we save that and hit F5 again. Let's remove some of this stuff. F5. I'm now debugging within the debugger. Gotta love it. It's thinking. Oh no, hold on. Not sure what it's doing. That doesn't seem to have. Skip loading symbols module, just my code. Now this is not something I've tested with the latest pre-release of Cake. So it could be that we've broken something. Workspace root build.cake. So I have one of those. Verbosity, current working directory, stop at entry, all good stuff. So do I have a .NET Cake? I should have. Bootstrapping failed. Could not find script. That's fine because I don't have one of those. Not in there anyway. do it again. Are you in a position to test debugging with the latest RC of Cake, Nils? Starting now, thank you. And there was something about just my code, but I forget what it was. Yeah. But I think what we need to do is we need to do the initial config. So that initial configs that I deleted, I think we need to switch those over to be the Cake debug for .NET Tool. So that's something to look at. That's fine. Debug type, that's fine. Some of those tests are going to be broken. You can go back and fix those. Yeah. Okay. Come back to that one. Because the other thing is our... Oh yeah, where's that? Oh no, it is there, look. So if we just do run task, what does it do? So it did some stuff and it said Bob, there is stuff, okay? If we do debug task, what does it do? It's thinking. That doesn't work either. So neither of the ways of debugging the script is currently working. But what I don't know is whether that's a symptom of the debugger inception that's currently happening, or whether that's something else. Oh, so it's not working for you either. I wonder if we broke something then. We should probably go back and test that with the 1.3 release of Cake, and then see if we haven't done something in the 2.0 release that breaks it. But anyway, for now, in terms of what we're trying to do tonight, I feel like we're getting off a little bit, beaten track a little bit. But what we've done is we have made it so that we can So that, yeah, so I think I'm going to finish there. So as a quick recap, what we've done tonight is we have started modifying the VS Code extension for Cake to include the ability to automatically download, place onto the file system, and then start up Cake.Bakery. So rather than having to do a explicit step, which is to install Intellisense support through the command palette, we're going to do that automatically when you activate the Cake extension. So what that means is it's going to reach out to the nutkeg for Cake.Bakery. It's going to pull it down and it's going to put it into the extensions folder. And then it's going to restart Omnisharp once it has updated Omnisharp's omnisharp.json file, which contains that bakery path. And when that's done, Intellisense will just automatically start working within the Cake extension or within VS Code when it's activated. So that improves that workflow, making it so that you don't have to do anything extra. And with that in play, we still a couple of tidy up things to do, but essentially what we've done is made that work. We then went through and we tidied up the usage of Cake.CoreClr, which is now going to be completely obsolete with the release of Cake 2.0. And that, I think, is a good place to stop. So we might just wait and see if Nils says that debugging works in 1.3 for the Cake.global tool. And if it does, then we know we've definitely broke something in the 2.0 release and we need to fix that before we ship it. Because at the minute we've got a pre-release in the making, but we haven't got an official release yet. So I might just hold on a minute to see what Nils says about that. And for now, what I'll do is I'll go back to this folder and I will delete that Cake.Bakery folder because we don't need it. And then what I'll do is I will start prepping a draft PR. So while I see it, I'm going to go into here and I'm going to say npm.debug.log file. Don't want or need that, so we can exclude that. Deleted a bunch of stuff. What did we delete in there? Oh, we just did some renames. To do the URLs won't change every 5 minutes should we cache the call to the services. So I'm going to create a branch here. So create a new branch called, what have we been doing? We have been doing automatically install bakery, and then work in progress, add all changed files from stream. Let's do that. Would you like to stage all, commit them directly? Yes. And I'll go through them. Git push origin. And that'll push it to my fork, ready for playing with. Could be you broke something. What makes you think that you broke something, Nils? Now there was something, is there not a setting that you need to set in order to make things, is it not literally just the just my code setting? VS Code, just my code debugging. But I thought we kind of set all of the, oh, I see what you're saying, could be something on your machine. Is there not something that you need to set, yeah, like in the in here, I don't know if we don't have it open, but if we do that again, let me do one thing, and then I'm definitely going to sign off. So let's go into here and say, oh, because it was it not? I set it globally. Trust my code, false. F5. There. Oh no, it's doing something. There we go. There we go. F10, F10, F10. So it's working. So you need to set that in your launch.json to just my code false. I seem to remember that I would set that globally somewhere, but I would have expected that would be something that would have been documented, but it's not. And is it this one that is? Does that work for you? Oh, so yes for you. What does that mean? Sorry, I took my eyes off the screen for when you said that. There we go. So I think we need to make some tweaks to the launch.json so that those things are set properly. But anyway, okay, cool. So if you could verify, if you could do one final verification before you sign off for the night, Nils, if you were to do that same thing with the 2.0 pre-release, just to make sure that it's working. It works for me here, but a final sanity check for you from you would be good as well. So do some stuff with the stuff and then export. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Right, that's all I've got. I'll try and get that up as a cleaned up PR at some point through the week, and we can have some further discussions about if there's anything else that needs to be done. But functionally, it's there. So that's pretty cool. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.